And I'm here today at the inauguration ceremony for the World Anti Extremism Network. And here I'm delighted to have a chance to interview the most beautiful Eunhee Park. She looks very sweet, but she has had such an incredible, tough story, and that I'm very excited to have you guys hear about. But in general, she's a North Korean defector and now human rights activist. She's given talks about her experience at TEDx and various university campuses, and today she works with a nonprofit based in Seoul that helps other North Korean defectors find opportunities and escape and then find opportunities to build a new life outside of North Korea. So please, I'm very excited to have you here. And to get started, I got to hear a little bit about your story last night, just tiny glimpses of it, but I would just love it if you could give us a little overview of how you grew up and how you were able to escape. And can we kick it off with that?
Thank you for amazing introduction of me. And then I think it might be a little bit adjust with the organization. We don't risk North Korean defectors, but just focus on the North Korean defectors' economic independence. That's what we do. And my name is Eunhee Park, as you introduced. And I escaped at the age of 21. So growing up with a grandmother who was a doctor, I aspired to work in medical fields. So I entered the university majoring in chemistry to become a pharmacist. And unexpectedly, during a college, a USB drive, including South Korean dramas and American movies, opened my eyes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've worked with I know some of the groups that were sending those USB drives over. So it's so fascinating to hear that it worked.
So that's why I decided to leave that country to become a real human being.
What was it that you felt in that moment? Did you feel like, did it make sense to you, or did you feel, what did you feel when you saw that?
So actually my grandparents visited in China several times because my grandfather was born in South Korea, but during his time in South Korea wasn't that good like right now. Like economically so depressed and oppressed, and he and his family immigrated to China. So growing up in China for 20 years, and when the war between South and North, he went to North Korea to support the military services, and then he couldn't go back. And all the relatives of his family still living in China. That's how my grandfather and my grandmother got to have the opportunities to visit their relatives. So I got a glimpse of life in China through their lens.
Okay.
Because they visited in China several times, and then they told me what it looked like life outside of North Korea, but not specifically because they are worried about me telling that type of story outside. So our family is in danger.
Yeah, because this is a time where everyone's sort of taught to report on each other, right? So you couldn't even trust your own family members.
And when I got to have opportunity to watch the South Korean movies, I started gathering the puzzles, what I've heard from my grandparents and what I see from the video. And I was just so oppressed by the government. So for example, there is no any freedom of expression who you are in North Korea by the totalitarianism ruling by the Kim family. For example, like you as a woman, you can't express your beauty.
Okay.
For example, there are a lot of policies on the street. So one day, I remember that I just ventured out wearing bootcut pants with the long hair. The police approached me, and without my consensus, just started cutting my hair.
Cutting your hair?
And then bootcut pants with the scissors.
No.
That's the North Korea.
Did you feel in that moment that it was justified? Did they make you feel like you were supposed to, or you knew already then that it was unjust what they were doing?
No, I mean, I thought like it's my freedom to express my beauty, but somehow there was a lot of restrictions for women not to wear some kind of a certain clothes and not having long hair. But I was so I always feared to go outside, even into my village, the area, because I knew like I'm gonna be caught somehow and then got the punishment because of the clothes I wore. Like I just want to express who I am. That's all I want. But it's also at the same time, like when they started cutting my hair, it's like the outrageous in my mind. Like this is my body, but I cannot have control over my body and express the beauty as a woman. And I remember there's a saying that I would just rather die trying to live my life rather than just living a longer life with the regrets. So at this 17, it was my first idea. I will escape this country to be a free woman.
How did you go about that?
Long story. I crossed the Yalu River, but actually first the journey from started from my hometown, the Wonsan, which is on the east coast of North Korea, close the border between south and north. But it is the dangerous journey to come to South Korea from my hometown. Like a lot of military services there. So I had to go to north part of North Korea, which I can cross the river between China and the north.
And you were by yourself?
I started out with myself, but in front of the Yalu River, I met four North Korean people, including 1 year baby. Yeah, so which made me problem and in danger somehow. Like at 3 o'clock, we crossed the river, and it's the water above my chest. And some people asked me, "Did you swim to cross the river?" No, you can't swim. The current was so strong, make you maybe to die somehow. So we just crossed the river, and after like crossing river, the 1 year baby started crying. That was the most like furious moment, dangerous moment for me. I think like I don't know how I managed it, but if I knew that the journey to come to South Korea, how it was, I can't make it to cross the river, to cross the Laos and Thailand to reach South Korea.
But at that point, you had you'd made your decision already that it was, you were gonna do it even if you died trying.
Yeah. So just cross the river, and I just played some kind of like making mimics of the dog sounds and pig sounds, the whole with the wet body because in the river in September, and luckily she stopped crying, and then the smugglers came to us to go through China. So we went went through China for 7 days, and then crossed the border between China and Laos by hiking, non-stop hiking for 7 hours. It was the most difficult moment for me.
Wow.
Like mentally and physically, both destroyed.
That's crazy. But at no point you thought, oh, this wasn't worth it. You still, you were
Still
already
like
there.
almost in the Laos.
Yeah.
There was no way. There was no any choice. Only choice that you have to go through to get the freedom.
That's incredible. And how did you feel once you made it out? Where did you really end your journey? Where were you able to?
So from Laos to go to Thailand by crossing kind of Mekong River, what I heard that there are crocodiles. But luckily we arrived, and then we detained in a refugee camp, or not refugee camp, I can say. It's just jail. We saw a lot of criminals in the jail as well in Thailand to get the refugee status. So I stayed there for 40 days, and total about for maybe 50 days I reached South Korea, and finally like I could breathe. Like wow, no one chased me at all. Now
Wow.
I could feel the freedom and then free environment that I can be who I am. But it's not the first like a step of the freedom. In South Korea, you have to be in the kind of like you have to investigate it by the government, national intelligence.
Oh, to make sure you're
yeah.
not a spy or
Yes.
something.
So
You're like, really?
total 6 months, you wasted your time to be investigated and educated to learn about the South Korean culture.
Okay, I see. And so, and you mentioned to me last night that you don't actually know how your family is back home, right? Because there's no way to communicate with them. Wow, that must be very hard, but you just have to know that you made the right decision by coming out there.
Yep.
What sort of is the situation there now? Has it changed at all, do you think? Or is it still the same? How many people are aware of the situation they're in?
So it's still the same. I do work with at an NGO, which I can have opportunities to meet the other North Korean escapees. So recently, I met a guy who escaped last year, and then I asked him whether there is anything changed, and he said it's exactly same.
Exactly the same.
Exactly same. The government, the Kim Jong-un controls everything, and then limited accessing of the information outside of the world, and then punishing people like watching South Korean dramas and the American movies are forbidden to watch. So
What's
last
the
year,
consequence?
so last year, 20, I think a guy who was in his 20s got executed. The criminal reason is shocking. Just watching South Korean dramas and sharing it with his friends, and just the government threaten people so they can control, because since the black market system started in North Korea, people are not hungry as much as like my mom's or my grandmother's generations. Young generations could afford the food from the moms that they can work market to make a profit. So they have at least the basic needs, so they could think about the other level of their lives. That's why the North Korean regime is so afraid of the young generations. Like they could change their perspectives of their lives and also make life change in North Korea, collapse North Korean regime someday. So they blocked all the information from outside of North Korea.
Wow, amazing. I have a million questions, but we're limited in time. So I'll just ask this. Given that we're here today with this organization looking to see how to end extremism around the world, what do you think is the most important thing that we can be doing, either around the world or specifically for North Korea, to bring down the totalitarian regime?
I think if we think about just end extremism, it's just so hard to imagine to do something, you know? So I want to just focus on the 34 or whatever North Korean defectors residing in democratic countries right now. 34,000 North Korean
34,000,
defectors
okay,
residing in South Korea. And also there are some people outside of South Korea living maybe UK or in the United States and other countries, so in the democratic countries. So if we think about helping and supporting North Korean defectors, eventually we can change North Korea. Why? Because North Korean defectors are sending the financial aid to their relatives inside of North Korea, at the same time disseminating information about the freedom, about their lives outside of North Korea. So if we help support initiative with the North Korean defectors, eventually the government, North Korean government, will be collapsed by the grassroots level. That's what I can say. And we can't say 25 million people under the totalitarianism for their rights, their free, like fundamental rights, without acknowledging 34,000 North Korean escapees residing in South Korea and or even in democratic countries.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so like you said, so if we want to help North Korea, we need to help the North Korean defectors that are outside, and that's exactly what you do. So if people want to get in touch and want to contribute or take action, how can they get in touch with you?
Or just my Instagram or my Facebook. My Instagram, the ID is North Korean Eunhee. So if you just write down North Korea, it will pop up. And then contact me, whatever you have an idea to share with me, and everyone can be my companions to make this world better.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.